Ever been stuck with your homework? Well, there's a couple ways to get help. You could ask your friends, your parents, your teacher or colleague, or ChatGPT. It feels like everyone and their grandmother is sharing images generated by Midjourney, and social media being flooded with awesome-looking videos made with Stable Diffusion and other GIA tools. 2023 has been a good year for AI. Or has it? The godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, has recently made headlines around the globe. The renowned AI expert quit his job at Google in early 2023 so he can speak freely about the risks of AI. He even goes so far as to say that AI may be a more urgent risk to humanity than climate change. Elaborating further, he explains, with climate change, it's very easy to recommend what you should do. You should just stop burning carbon. If you do that, eventually things will be okay. For this, it's not at all clear what you should do. With all this in mind, it makes sense that opinions on AI vary a lot. Its potential is undoubtedly great. The question is whether it will contribute to a better future for humanity or be part of its downfall. The European Union believes to have a solution to all these worries: the EU AI Act. Great, but what is the EU AI Act? To explain the EU AI Act, let's first take a closer look at AI, and what greater starting point than asking an AI. ChatGPT describes it like so.
AI, or artificial intelligence, is all about teaching computers to be smart and make their own decisions. It's like creating computer programs that can learn and think, just like we do. Well, almost. With AI, we can make cool things like self-driving cars, robots, and virtual assistants that can help us in our daily lives. It's an exciting field that's changing the way we live and interact with technology.
Overall, pretty on point, and to be fair, we did ask it to not go into too much tech detail. As you may have guessed, ChatGPT itself is already a great example for modern AI. It is a language model created by the company OpenAI that makes use of deep learning techniques to be able to communicate with humans. It is a super advanced chatbot, so to say. Ultimately, what it does is searching text for patterns and context, which it then uses to generate an answer that is most likely to be what you were looking for. But AI is not all modern and high-tech. In fact, it's been around since the mid-1900s. The term was first coined by mathematician and computer scientist John McCarthy in 1955. AI is, for example, used for navigation of enemies in video games. One of the first games was Steve Russell's Space War, released way back in 1962. Another gaming classic that made use of this AI magic is Pong, released in 1972. Pong's AI enemies even came in varying levels of difficulty. Still super fun to play, by the way. Video games and chatbots are not the only examples, though. AI is also built into our smartphones in the form of voice assistants or social media algorithms, for example. So AI is already assisting us a lot. It's pretty much a stable part of our daily lives. To conclude, AI has come a long way. Let's have a look at some numbers. ChatGPT crossed 1 million users within 1 week of its launch in late 2022. Midjourney's Discord server currently has more than 15 million users. Experts predict that by 2024, there will be more AI assistants than people. So AI is bigger than ever before, which brings us back to the EU AI Act. Why do we need it, and why should you care? Well, Lillian Edwards, professor and expert on internet law, puts it like this. The EU AI Act is the first comprehensive attempt in the world to regulate AI from a fundamental rights perspective. Well put. Let's detangle that a little bit. Luckily, the AI Act has its own website. Okay, so the Artificial Intelligence Act aims to create European laws which would ensure that AI is secure, trustworthy, innovative, and energy efficient. That last point deserves its own video, so for now we will focus on the other three. The AI Act introduces rules for development, placing on the market, and use of AI in the EU. It wants to do so by firstly dividing AI into categories based on risk. First of all, there's unacceptable risk, like government-run social scoring. This is a common trope in dystopian sci-fi stories, but also implemented to some extent in a handful of non-EU countries. This sort of AI tech will be prohibited within the EU. Then there is high risk. This includes all systems that handle sensitive personal data or that can have a great social impact. For example, CV scanning to rank job applicants. AI that falls under this category will be affected by EU AI Act regulation. Everything else is to remain unregulated. To give a concrete example of regulation, the AI Act establishes a number of transparency measures. High-risk AI, like deepfakes, will have to give disclaimers. To put things in perspective, once the AI Act is adapted, companies or individuals that do not comply with EU law can be fined. And it's not one to scoff at. The EU can demand up to 30 million euros or 6% of annual revenue. Quite the price tag. The goal is to prevent spread of fake news, training data or output bias, inappropriate or otherwise harmful content created by AI, protect sensitive data, help build a framework around the ethical usage of AI, and. These are steep goals. Even for the experts within the EU, it is difficult to estimate the scope of everything because the industry is growing at such an incredible speed. Surprise, surprise, EU lawmaking is really complex. Someone should make a video about that, huh? Anyway, here is a TLDR version. As of now, the EU AI Act still has some hurdles to overcome, but it is expected to be implemented near the end of 2023. If done right, the EU AI Act may very well be a trendsetter for other countries to step forward and recognize AI's potential. Ultimately, the best protection is education. No matter if teacher, student, CEO, or whoever, learning and stimulating others to learn is the best you can do. If you want to learn more about European topics, make sure to leave a sub. It's greatly appreciated. This was our first ever video. We have linked our Discord server and Instagram accounts in the description. Be sure to drop by to discuss the EU AI Act, leave feedback, vote on upcoming topics, or simply to say hi. For the extra critical and curious foxes, find all sources and lists of AI tools that were used below. Thanks for watching, see you next video.